Obsidian Heights wasn't always a festering wound of neon and corruption. At least that's what the history books claimed, though anyone under 30 had never seen evidence of it. The city sprawled across the horizon like a cancerous growth, corporate spires jutting upward through a perpetual haze of pollution and artificial rain. Somewhere in the bowels of this technological nightmare, Ash Caldwell was having a particularly bad day. "Not now, not now," he whispered, staring at his trembling hands as wisps of smoke curled between his fingers. The temperature in the abandoned storage unit he called home had risen 10 degrees in the last minute. Sweat beaded on his forehead, not from heat, but from fear. He'd been on the run for 8 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. Not that he was counting. A small flame sparked in his palm, dancing like it had a mind of its own. Ash closed his fist and pressed it against the metal floor, which sizzled in protest. "Breathe. Just breathe," he muttered, repeating the mantra they'd taught him before everything went to hell. Before the Ember Syndicate decided his family was an acceptable casualty in their pursuit of progress. The memories crashed through his mental barriers. The sterile lab, the injections that burned like acid in his veins. His parents' faces when they realized what their employers had done to their son. The convenient apartment fire that insurance investigators somehow concluded started in 3 separate locations simultaneously. Ash had escaped with nothing but the clothes on his back and a curse flowing through his bloodstream. The ability to create and manipulate fire, paired with the complete inability to control it reliably. Some gift. A proximity alarm blared from his jury-rigged security system. Someone was approaching. Ash grabbed his backpack, already packed with his meager possessions, and slipped toward the back exit. The storage facility's forgotten maintenance tunnels had saved him more than once. He was halfway down the escape route when a voice called out, "We know what you are." Ash froze, flames involuntarily licking up his forearms. He turned slowly. 3 figures stood in the narrow corridor. The one in front, tall, lean, with a shock of red hair, raised empty hands in a gesture of peace. "Relax, kid. If we wanted you dead, we wouldn't have announced ourselves." "Who's we?" Ash demanded, backing away as the fire across his skin intensified. "People like you. People the Ember Syndicate screwed over. I'm Phoenix." The man gestured to his companions. A woman with geometric tattoos covering half her face and a mountain of a man whose eyes reflected light like a cat's. "That's Cypher and Brute. Creative naming convention you've got there," Ash said, trying to mask his fear with sarcasm. Phoenix grinned. "Says the pyrokinetic named Ash. Look, we've been tracking the Ember Syndicate's movements for months. They're hunting test subjects, and you're leaving quite the trail of scorch marks across Obsidian Heights. I'm handling it." "Yeah, I can see that," Phoenix replied, nodding toward the flames now crawling up to Ash's shoulders. "We can help you control it. More importantly, we can help you make them pay." Ash hesitated. The flames receded slightly. "And why would you do that?" Cypher stepped forward, the geometric patterns on her face suddenly shifting, rearranging like living circuitry. "Because they took something from all of us. The sparks don't let that stand." 24 hours later, Ash found himself in an abandoned subway station 50 levels below Obsidian Heights' surface streets. The place had been converted into something between a resistance headquarters and a halfway house for scientific abominations. People with abilities that shouldn't exist moved about with purpose, a woman whose skin phased through solid matter, twins who seemed to share a consciousness, a boy no older than 12 who could temporarily shut down any technology with a touch. "Welcome to the family of freaks," Phoenix said, leading Ash through the controlled chaos. "Every one of us escaped from an Ember Syndicate lab. Some were born in them." They approached a circular chamber that had once been a maintenance hub. Now it was stripped bare except for scorch marks and melted metal across every surface. "Your training room," Phoenix explained. "You need to get those flames under control before they consume you, literally." The Syndicate's early pyrokinetic prototypes had a tendency to spontaneously combust once they hit critical mass. "That's reassuring," Ash muttered. "It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to motivate you." Over the next week, Ash learned more about his unwanted gift than he had in months of desperate experimentation. The Sparks had compiled research stolen from Ember's own databases. They understood the science behind what had been done to them all. Phoenix, it turned out, could generate and manipulate plasma, a more advanced version of Ash's ability. His control was immaculate, allowing him to form complex structures from superheated matter. "You're stronger than I am," Phoenix admitted during one particularly grueling session. "But strength without control just makes you a bomb waiting to go off." On the 8th day, Cypher burst into the training room. "We've got a lead. Ember's moving a shipment of experimental compounds tonight. The same stuff they used on you, Ash." Phoenix examined Ash critically. "You're not ready." "Like hell I'm not," Ash replied, summoning a controlled flame that danced between his fingers. "I can handle myself. This isn't target practice. If you lose control out there, I won't." Phoenix's expression hardened. "Fine. But you follow orders, understand? No heroics." The mission was simple on paper. Intercept the shipment at the automated transit hub, destroy the compounds, extract any information from the security system. A surgical strike against Ember's operations. Reality, as usual, had other plans. The transit hub was a trap. The moment the sparks breached the perimeter, security protocols activated that weren't on any schematic Cypher had hacked. Automated turrets emerged from hidden compartments. Electromagnetic barriers cut off their escape routes. "They knew we were coming," Brute shouted, using his massive frame to shield the others as bullets ricocheted off his unnaturally dense skin. Ash felt the familiar heat building inside him. The flames wanted out, wanted to consume everything. The fear and adrenaline made it harder to focus, harder to maintain the careful balance Phoenix had taught him. "Ash, focus on the northern barrier," Phoenix called out, his hands glowing with blue-white plasma that he hurled at approaching security drones. Ash directed his fire toward the barrier, trying to maintain precision. But as bullets whizzed past his head, his concentration slipped. The flame surged from a controlled jet to an explosive wave, engulfing not just the barrier but the entire wall, and the structural supports behind it. Alarms blared as the building's integrity warnings activated. Ash stood frozen in horror as his flames spread beyond his control. "Fall back," Phoenix ordered, grabbing Ash's arm. "This whole place is coming down." They fled through the collapsing transit hub, Ember security forces in close pursuit. The spark scattered, using prearranged escape routes through Obsidian Heights' labyrinthine infrastructure. Ash followed Cypher through a maintenance shaft, his lungs burning from smoke and exertion. They emerged onto an abandoned pedestrian walkway 30 levels above the street when a targeted EMP burst hit Cypher mid-stride. She collapsed, her augmentations temporarily disabled. "Go," she gasped. "I'll recover in a minute. Don't let them catch you." Before Ash could argue, the distinctive whine of Ember's tracking drones filled the air. He sprinted down the walkway, flames involuntarily trailing from his fingertips. The drones were closing in, their targeting systems locked onto his unique thermal signature. He turned a corner and found himself facing a dead end, a shattered section of walkway with nothing but a 1,000-foot drop beyond. The drones closed in from behind, their mechanical voices announcing, "Target acquired. Project Helios asset detected." Ash turned to face them, backed against the abyss, flames now engulfing both arms entirely. "I'm not your asset," he growled as the drones unleashed their capture nets. When Ash woke up, the first thing he noticed was that he wasn't dead or captured. The second was that everything within a 20-foot radius had been reduced to slag and ash. Impressive. Phoenix stood at the edge of the destruction, arms crossed. "I haven't seen output like that since. Well, ever." Ash struggled to his feet, disoriented. The drones? Vaporized, along with a significant portion of the walkway infrastructure. The good news is any evidence of our operation went with it. And Cypher, she's fine. Made it back to the secondary base on her own, which is where we need to go now that our main hideout is compromised. The secondary base turned out to be a decommissioned water treatment facility deep within Obsidian Heights foundation levels. Fewer amenities, more rats, but apparently more secure. Cypher greeted them at the entrance, her facial circuitry pulsing with blue light. "Thought you were toast, Fireboy." "Almost was," Ash admitted. "Phoenix, we need to talk," she said, her expression turning serious. "It's about what the drones were saying." Phoenix nodded grimly. "I heard through the comms. Project Helios. The three of them moved to a makeshift command center where Brute and several other Sparks were gathered around holographic displays of Ember Syndicate facilities. "Time for Truth Hour," Phoenix announced, turning to Ash. "You're not just another test subject. You're the only successful prototype in Project Helios, Ember's attempt to create weaponized pyrokinetics." Ash stared at him. "I already knew they experimented on me." "No, you don't understand. The rest of us, me, Cypher, all the Sparks, we were side projects. Useful mutations, but not the main event. Project Helios was supposed to create soldiers who could level city blocks with a thought. Controllable human weapons to sell to corporate armies and nationalist governments. If I'm so important, why did they try to kill my family?" Ash demanded, heat rising in his voice and his skin. Phoenix's expression darkened. "They weren't trying to kill you. The fire was meant to drive you out, make you desperate enough to use your abilities so they could track you. Your parents were collateral damage." The temperature in the room spiked. Objects nearest to Ash began to smoke. "Easy," Cypher warned. "We're on your side, remember?" Ash forced himself to breathe, to pull back the flames that wanted to erupt. "So what now? I keep running forever." "No," Phoenix said firmly. "Now we take the fight to them. Hit them where it hurts." He gestured to the holographic display, which shifted to show a towering corporate complex in Obsidian Heights elite district. Ember headquarters. "In 3 days, they're hosting a gala for potential buyers, the people interested in purchasing weapons like you. And we're going to crash the party," Brute rumbled, cracking his massive knuckles. The plan was audacious. Using identities Cypher had fabricated, Phoenix and Ash would infiltrate the gala as representatives of a Southeast Asian military conglomerate. Once inside, they would access the secure servers containing Project Helios data while the rest of the Sparks created a distraction. "What we really need," Phoenix explained, "is to identify the architect behind Project Helios. Cut off the head, and the body dies." The night of the gala arrived with the clockwork precision that governed Obsidian Heights. Ash tugged at the high collar of his formal attire, unused to anything but the utilitarian clothing he'd lived in since escaping. "Stop fidgeting," Phoenix murmured as they approached the security checkpoint. "Rich people don't fidget. Rich people don't usually have to worry about accidentally incinerating everyone around them," Ash countered under his breath. They passed through scanners designed to detect conventional weapons, useless against people who were weapons themselves. Cypher's forged credentials held up under scrutiny, and moments later they were inside the opulent main hall of Ember headquarters. The contrast between the glittering wealth on display and the squalor of Obsidian Heights' lower levels made Ash's stomach turn. These people drank champagne worth a month's food rations while children starved 50 levels below. "Focus," Phoenix reminded him, noting the small wisps of smoke beginning to rise from Ash's clenched fists. "We need to locate the executive elevator. It's our only access to the secure floors." They circulated through the crowd, Phoenix smoothly engaging potential buyers in conversation, while Ash scanned for security vulnerabilities. The plan was proceeding perfectly, too perfectly, Ash thought with growing unease. They located the executive elevator after 30 minutes of careful reconnaissance. Phoenix produced an access chip Cypher had programmed. "Once we're in the secure area, we'll have 3 minutes before security realizes something's wrong," he explained as they stepped into the elevator. "The server room is on sublevel 3. The elevator descended smoothly. Ash tried to ignore the crawling sensation along his spine, the feeling of walking into another trap. The doors opened onto a sterile white corridor. No alarms, no guards. "This isn't right," Ash whispered. Phoenix moved forward confidently. "We're fine. Cypher's loop is holding." They reached the server room without incident. Inside, banks of quantum processors hummed quietly, processing data at speeds that made traditional computing look prehistoric. Phoenix approached the main terminal. "Cover the door while I extract the data." Ash complied, but the uneasiness wouldn't leave him. The mission was going too smoothly. Then he heard it. Phoenix wasn't typing commands to extract data. He was entering an activation sequence. "What are you doing?" Ash demanded, turning. Phoenix's expression was calm, almost regretful. "What's necessary?" The server room door slid shut and locked with a hiss of pneumatics. From hidden panels in the ceiling, gas began to pour into the room. "You sold me out," Ash realized. flames already racing across his skin, burning away the tranquilizer gas before it could affect him. Phoenix shook his head. It's not that simple. Project Helios is bigger than you know. The technology could end wars before they begin. By starting new ones. Ash lunged forward, but Phoenix countered with a plasma barrier that forced him back. You're unstable, Ash. A half-finished prototype. You need to be perfected. A new voice spoke through the room's communication system. And I can perfect you, Ash. A holographic projection appeared between them, a woman in her 50s with silver hair pulled into a severe bun, her lab coat immaculate. I'm Dr. Lara Frost. I created you in a manner of speaking. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Phoenix has been working for me all along, monitoring your development in the wild. An unorthodox but necessary approach. Ash turned to Phoenix, betrayal and rage fueling the flames that now covered his entire body. The sparks? All of it was a lie. Not all of it, Phoenix answered. The others don't know. They really do want to bring down Ember. I just have a more nuanced view of the situation. Enough dialogue, Dr. Frost interrupted. Phoenix, contain him. The buyers are eager for a demonstration. Phoenix launched a plasma attack that Ash barely dodged. The server banks nearest to him melted under the intense heat. Don't make me hurt you, kid, Phoenix warned, generating plasma whips from both hands. You can't win this. Ash backed away, remembering his training. Phoenix had always held back, he realized. Had never shown his full capabilities. You taught me control, Ash said, the flames around him condensing, focusing. But you never asked what I could do if I really let go. He reached deep inside himself to the molten core of power that had been growing since the day Ember changed him. The room's temperature skyrocketed. Metal began to warp. Alarms blared as fire suppression systems activated only to melt before they could deploy. Phoenix attacked with everything he had, plasma arcing across the room like artificial lightning. But Ash was beyond fear now, beyond restraint. The fire didn't control him, he controlled it, shaped it, directed it with precision Phoenix had never witnessed. Impossible, Phoenix gasped as his attacks dissipated against Ash's inferno. Your power levels were never this high in testing. Ash advanced steadily. Maybe I just needed the right motivation. Dr. Frost's hologram watched with clinical interest. Fascinating. His emotional state appears to be a catalyst rather than an inhibitor. Make a note of that, Phoenix. Phoenix made one last desperate attack, concentrating all his plasma into a single devastating beam. Ash countered with a focus wall of white-hot flame. The energies collided in cataclysmic fashion, the shockwave shattering what remained of the server room. When the smoke cleared, Phoenix lay unconscious, his expensive formal wear in tatters. Ash stood over him, flames still dancing across his skin but now perfectly under his control. He turned to Dr. Frost's hologram. Project Helios ends today. She laughed, a cold, clinical sound. On the contrary, today proved its success beyond my expectations. The data from this encounter alone will advance our research by years. With methodical precision, Ash began destroying every server, every piece of equipment in the room. Destroying the facility won't erase the data, Dr. Frost said calmly. We have backups. I know, Ash replied. But it sends a message. I'm coming for those next, and then I'm coming for you. Her hologram flickered as the transmission equipment melted. I look forward to it, Ash. The predator-prey dynamic should provide excellent motivation for your continued development. As her image faded, the facility's self-destruct sequence initiated Ember's protocol for compromised installations. Ash grabbed the unconscious Phoenix and blasted a hole through the nearest wall, making his escape as security forces converged on their position. The Sparks distraction team, realizing something had gone wrong, provided cover for his extraction. 3 days later, in yet another hideout, Ash faced the remaining members of the Sparks. He told them everything: Phoenix's betrayal, Dr. Frost's plans, the truth about Project Helios. So Phoenix was working against us the whole time, Cypher said, her voice hollow. Where is he now? Secure, Ash replied. He'll provide information on Ember's operations when he wakes up. Root slammed his fist into a wall, leaving a substantial dent. What's our next move? Ash looked at each of them, these broken, enhanced people who, like him, had never asked for the power they now possessed. Dr. Frost has backups of Project Helios data. She's still out there, still creating weapons like us. We need to find her and end this permanently. Cypher's facial circuitry pulsed with determination. The Ember Syndicate has facilities across 3 continents. It won't be easy. Ash felt the familiar warmth in his veins, but this time it was a comfort rather than a threat. His curse had become his strength. Easy was never an option for people like us, he said, a small flame dancing above his palm, perfectly controlled. But neither was S.